I'm gonna get this going. So guys, today we're gonna do two different things. I'm gonna record this one because I'm starting it. It's gonna be the A diagram demonstration because we didn't finish that yesterday. I'm gonna stop that recording. That way it's an isolated standalone, and then I'm gonna start it up again, and then Michelle's gonna do a KT. So Michelle is going to she's handling like a stage five, like DEFCON 5 diaper right now. So that's why she left Wolfpack a few minutes early. But she's gonna come in and do that. And so that's the plan for this morning. If you guys have questions, if you want explanations on the A diagram stuff, like feel free. But please do me a favor while Michelle is practicing today, take notes, right? Then give her constructive feedback. Make sure that, there's no personal attacks, right? It's not like, hey, I didn't like your hair today. There's nothing like that. It's all actual like constructive feedback in terms of like getting better, right? And if it's positive, great. And if it's not positive, well, make it the crap sandwich, right? Something good, crap constructive in the middle, and then good on the back end, right? Because that's how you make people feel better in the process of learning. All right. So, any questions before I get started and kick this off? No, good. Perfect. All right. So here's the setup. All right. We've just done a KT presentation. We've gone through the quote. We know roughly what it's about to cost, and then we'll go from there. Okay. So, Amber, girl, I am so freaking proud of you. Like just plugging back in and just being here, right? Sometimes that's all it takes. Sometimes you just got to be back around it, and that's what it takes. So whiteboard is a skill. Okay. Being able to do an A diagram is a skill. Guys, we used to do this upside down on paper in front of a client, right? How many times have I run an appointment in person? Not often. But when Andy told me that they used to have to do this upside down in front of a client while explaining it so that the client could see it, I practiced it and I tried it because I wanted to know what it was like. And I want like because I might be in front of a client someday and I'm gonna whip out a piece of paper and I'm gonna write upside down, right? You can't do that the first time and expect it to look pretty. And it's the same thing on a whiteboard, right? You need a mouse. I promise you, it's way easier with a mouse. And you need to practice this. You can just pull up a Zoom and then click whiteboard and go to town, right? And so here's the whiteboard. So a couple of ways to do this, right? If you want, you can make a sort of like pre-canned whiteboard. You can uh you can have it sort of like pre-filled out. And so this is one that I built just kind of like messing around. And then you can kind of come in here and erase this stuff. That way it's sort of there. Now, obviously, right, there are like the coverage, I need to probably change that in terms of how much it is. But this is for like the average client that I was sitting with, this is what I built it for, right? And so this is a way to do it. The other way to do it is just pull up a blank whiteboard and just start drawing. I don't care what you do, but if you're using the A diagram, which you better be, right? It should look something like this because if you go back and watch Why Primerica at the kitchen table with Ian, when he draws it out, it looks like this. When you watch Andy draw his and scribble, like it looks like this at the end of the day. And so I don't care if you do it like this or if you do it just drawing it by hand. Either way, get comfortable, get used to doing it the way you do it. Okay. I kind of like this one just because it's already there, it's professional, and you don't have to spend time already like rewriting it. You can just sort of like fill in around the edges. Okay. And so like today's almost the last day of January. And so this first month, when I write it out, would be like February, March, April, when we're talking about the conditional coverage. So so here's like the demonstration in terms of what this looks like. So hey, Emily, I know we've got this going really quick for you. I just want to explain the application process and kind of show you how this whole thing works. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Awesome. Guys, you want to explain it to them. You want them to understand. A client that understands the entire process. You remove some of that fear, you remove some of that anxiety, you remove some of that like questioning of, do I really feel like doing this? This is where the close is happening, right? And Andy always says the close happens at the A diagram because you get to restack the value and then you get to kind of move forward, right? So Emily, here's how this process works, right? We do everything on DocuSign. Have you done DocuSign before?
Yes.
Awesome. Super simple, right? And so did you like buy your last house with DocuSign or what?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
okay. Well, cool. And so you bought a house, you kind of understand escrow, right? So like that first payment or the holding account kind of thing.
hmm
Well, Emily, what's going to happen is when we submit these applications for you and your husband, like that first payment for both policies is going to go into kind of like an escrow account. It's just like holding. But when that payment happens, that starts your conditional coverage. Okay.
okay.
And so Emily, we got 500 on you, 500 on Josh, and 25 on all the minor kids. Emily, God forbid something happened, even during the application process, we're sending you a check. Like God forbid something happened to Josh, right? We're sending
hmm
you a check for 500,000, but you better believe Primerica is keeping like his portion of this 180. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, and that's the conditional coverage, right? And
Okay.
so we say 30 to 90 days because it's February, right? Normal process. What we're going to do is we're going to get your medical exam scheduled in the next couple of weeks. Those results will take probably, 10 days, 2 weeks to go into underwriting. And now your policy is probably going to issue sometime out here in March. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yes.
Well, what happens when that policy issues? This escrow money has just been holding, right? It's going to go and pay a policy and it's going to pay it into the next billing cycle. So, Emily, you're going to be covered all of February and then you'll be covered all of March. And depending on the day you want your policy to draft normally, you shouldn't see another payment happen until maybe sometime in April.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yes.
Cool. And Emily, look, this A for application, right? It's just an application because you've applied for things before, like a school or job or something. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
When you applied, Emily, did they have to accept you?
Nope.
No, of course not, right? And look at my head, right?
Yep.
If I want a no answer, I ask a no question. Okay. So if they didn't have to accept you, right? This is kind of the same thing. Well, I mean, you're healthy, you're most likely going to be approved, but Primerica doesn't have to approve you. And so, God forbid something happened, Emily, and you were declined, right? You would get a letter in the mail, and with that letter, you would get a full refund of everything you submitted with the application.
Okay. Well, I didn't get that in college, so awesome.
Right? Yeah. Well, and then so you can kind of see how there's no risk in just applying. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So that's if you got declined. Well, the other side is, well, they're probably going to say yes. And if they say yes, and everything's like we quoted today, it'll be just like I showed you earlier. But it could also be yes, and it could come back cheaper. I mean,
Okay.
if it came back cheaper, Emily, would you ever be mad at me?
Nope. No, I would not.
No, of course not, right? But that's why we have to do the medical exam and underwriting and everything. Because if you're healthier than the average, person of your age, it could come back cheaper. Now, I don't know if it will, right? That's up to underwriting. And so, Emily, when we get back together in that policy issues, I'm going to show you that you and Josh both have coverage for 500,000. The kids are all covered for 25,000 each. And then we'll walk through some of the benefits that we talked about, right? So remember like the living benefit?
Okay.
You've got 40% of that policy that you can access in cash. God forbid you ever get diagnosed with a terminal diagnosis, right? So, Emily, that's 200 grand that you could tap into right now if you woke up tomorrow and the doctors told you you had 6 months to live, like terminal illness.
Okay.
Emily, do you have 200 grand you could touch right now? God forbid you got some really bad medical like information.
No, I don't.
Well, now you do. Now you do. That's the cool thing, right? We'll also go over the increasing benefit rider, right? Remember that inflation protection we talked about?
hmm
So every year, Primerica is going to give you an extra 10% of your policy in a rider. In 10 years, you'll actually have double the coverage you have today. Because remember, 500,000 today is not going to be the same 500,000 10 years from now, right?
Okay.
And this is optional. If you decide you don't want it, well, you just tell me, we'll cancel it, and it'll never cost you a dime. And your policy, your base policy will still be the same price for the next 30, 35 years, whatever we picked. Okay. And then the last piece, which is super cool, right? No med check ever again. At the end of this term, Emily, you're going to be guaranteed insurability forever. You do not ever have to provide insurability to Primerica at the end of your policy if you want to renew it. How crazy is that?
That's awesome.
I mean, you're going to be what, 72, I think, at the end of this policy. And if you decided you still wanted coverage, do you think you're going to be healthier then than you are now?
Probably not.
No. And but what's crazy is if you come back with any kind of preferred rating at all, or even just standard, when you go to renew it, you'll keep that rating.
Awesome.
Yeah, super cool. Super cool. So look, I know this all kind of looks like a bad football play, but any questions on any of this?
Nope, I think it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, pretty straightforward. All right, listen, so what we're gonna do, we're just gonna apply so we can see how it comes back, right? Who do you want your
Okay.
beneficiary to be?
We'll do my husband, Josh.
Yeah, that's what I figured. No worries, no worries. So I'm gonna bring these up and we'll get going. And then you bring up both applications, right? You bring up one, then bring up the other side by side. I'll show you guys how to do that as well because it saves time if you're doing a husband wife one, but there's a little bit of like a nuance in terms of like how you have to do it. So, any questions on that, guys, before I stop this recording and then re refresh it for Michelle? Okay, here's the last thing I'll tell you on A diagrams. Does it look easy when I do it? It does. How many of you have ever gone with a mouse and set up your own whiteboard and tried to draw that out and talk and explain it at the same time? Emily has, Michelle's done it once, Haley, Angela, right? If you've never done that, I promise you, you need to. You have to practice. It's a skill. It's a skill, right? I mean, think about the first time you ever tried to change a diaper. We've all got kids, right? That did not go well, right? But now Michelle could probably do that thing with one hand while she's handling the other kid over here because she's done it. It's a skill, just like anything else. All right. So let me stop this recording and then we'll get going.